Good morning. Good morning, people. Today is Saturday, March 16th, 2024. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we are at Department of Career Services, where our goal is simple: to help you get from where you are to someplace better, from point A to point B on this journey through life. That's it. Our role is not really a big deal, but it is a big deal. Your journey through life. We do it once, hopefully. And then hopefully we go on to the next thing. This is the weekend, so that means this is G.school. G.school. So the people who are regulars know this. New people, our program is a 4-part transformational program. In other words, to get you from where you are to someplace better, you need to really focus on 4 parts of life: the physical part, the mental part, the emotional part, and the spiritual part. Further, you can break those down. Physical is both fitness and health. You got to consume healthy food, get rid of the junk food, and you have to exercise. You have to take care of your body. Okay, just imagine it's like a table, right? If you don't take care of the table's not going to be able to bear the load. Or it's like a boat. If you don't take care of the boat, it's not going to help you on your journey. Or maybe those are too abstract. How about your car? If you don't take care of your car, it's not going to get you where you want to be. So you've got to take care of the physical. The mental, always be learning. Always be learning. Have an attitude of a student. Have an attitude of a child. Children are like sponges when it comes to learning, right? The hard thing is making sure they don't learn things that are not true. Where adults are more like bricks, be more like a sponge. So physical, mental, emotional. You got to be able to control your emotions. Why? Because if you don't, somebody else will, and they'll probably take you out of the game. Most of the people that are in prison, I would say virtually everyone in prison is there because they couldn't control their emotions, or let me say it this way, because somebody else controlled their emotions. And then the 4th part is spiritual, which happens to be the most important part. Spiritual is the most important. So we commit 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, to nothing but the spiritual part of our lives, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not about the physical, it's not about the mental, it's not about the emotional. All of those things support the spiritual. And this is a Christian-based thing. So let me give a disclaimer about that too. So this podcast is for people who are A, not successful, and B, they're pre-Christians. Okay, this is not for people who are successful because you believe you have it, you've got the answers. And it's not for people who are already saved. Now, do we say if you're successful, don't watch? Do we say if you're saved, don't watch? No, we don't say that at all. Everyone is welcome. Everyone can learn. But it's not designed for you. It's things that you already know. As an example, if you already know multiplication and division, you don't need to take a class in arithmetic, right? Because you already know that. You're already beyond that. Could you go back and learn something, perhaps? PEMDAS? Could you perhaps go back to arithmetic and learn how to do things a little bit easier? Yeah, you could, but the class is not designed for people who know multiplication and division to go back and learn arithmetic, addition and subtraction. It's not designed for that. If you already know, well, the point is made, right? Point is made. If you know algebra, you don't need to go back and learn mathematics. You don't need to learn addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, because you already know that. Could you gain something by going back? Yeah, you could. So just like that, that's here. It's not designed for people who are Christians. It's not designed for people who are successful. But can you get something out of it? Yeah. However, you should not come back to judge. What you should come back to say is, did I learn something? Take off your judging hat, put on your student hat. Ah, now I get it. Now I understand, etc. Okay. So that's who the program, this class is designed for. It's people who are not successful, but want to be more successful, and people who are not Christians, but would like to be. However, everyone is welcome. And G.school is about the spiritual side. And today's meme is unknown knowns. So last Saturday, we talked about known knowns, things we know that we know. And then we talked about known unknowns, things we know that we don't know. What's a known known? What's an example of a known known? Well, we know we are going to die. We know that. Okay, there's no question. We know we're going to die. What's an unknown known? A known unknown, not an unknown known. A known unknown. What happens after we die? We don't know. Certainly, we have beliefs. The beliefs may or may not be strong, but we don't know what's going to happen when we die. Okay, that's a known unknown. The unknown knowns are a little bit different. What is an unknown known? Things we don't know that we know. I didn't know that I knew that. It's an unknown known. So other people, so an example of an unknown known would be, I didn't know that, but it's a known thing. Here's a really good example of that. Ask somebody who is I'm a Christian, I've been saved. I'm exaggerating that for effect. I'm a Christian, I've been saved, I've got salvation. And say, how old is the world? How old is the universe? And you're very likely to get an answer like, I don't know. Okay, well, what do you think? I don't know. Well, is it like 1,000 years old? Is it like 20,000, 100,000, a million, a Brazilian? What is it? And drive to the point where you get an answer. And one thing that's surprising to me is how many people have no idea. No idea. And you say, well, that's interesting. Why don't you know? I don't know. Do you care? No, I don't care. It's like, wow. Those are unknown knowns. You don't know it, but it's known. It's a known thing. And then when you say to somebody who professes to be a Christian, well, what would you say if I told you the universe is 13.8 billion years old and Earth is about not more than 5? And then wait and watch. So you can kind of see the gears kind of cranking, but then all of a sudden it shuts off. No, I don't want to go there. And then you bring it back to, well, what does the Bible say? Okay, those are unknown knowns. The person doesn't know it, but it's known. It's a known. It's a known. It's a known thing. This is an example of an unknown known. There's different degrees of unknown knowns, but here's a simple example. It's an unknown, but it's known. So you have people who have a absolute certainty of things, but they don't match up with what's known. That's a problem. And that's a problem. Their view, their known unknown, which they believe is a known known. I've been saved. When I die, I will go to heaven. Their known known doesn't match up with their unknown known. And when confronted with the unknown known, well, the Earth is 13.8 billion years, and it came way, 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 way after the creation of the universe, not before. And the whole thing in Genesis, as we have been taught to understand it, is not right. Also, when were the dinosaurs here? So here's another unknown known. When were the dinosaurs here? When were the dinosaurs here? So I had one woman say the dinosaurs were here when the time of Noah, and they were the giants. And I said, oh, you mean the Nephilim, the sons of God, who had sex with the daughters of man? No, those weren't dinosaurs. Oh. And you say, well, what would you say if I told you the dinosaurs went extinct about 65 billion years ago? Unknown known, see? The thing is, you have a book. Let's pretend this is the Bible. The Bible says, here's the genealogy of man, going all the way back to Adam. And Adam and the world was created for Adam. And here's how it says in Genesis. If you take the Bible as a scientific book, it doesn't work. But if you profess to be a Christian and your unknown knowns are out of whack with what's generally accepted by people who are merely attempting to know the truth. Whereas somebody who professes to be a Christian that has this unknown known gap, they profess to be a Christian. They're trying to use the Bible as science. And what they do is anything that science says that's out of whack with what the Bible says, they say cannot be true. So the thousands and millions of people who are taking science classes just to understand the truth, just to find the truth. Where did we come from? What is the history of things? Where are we going? They are all wrong. Because the Bible says this. And that's a real problem. That is a real problem. And unfortunately, it's not talked about by the churches. Why? Because you have to upend what the church is saying, what a lot of people think. But it's a problem because in today's world, people who are not Christians, who are not professing Christians, and they believe in science. Why? Because these things work, because you can drive around in a car, and all these things are built upon science. And you say, well, science is wrong. But here's what you need to believe. Science is wrong, but their life is based upon science. What happens? Ba-boom, it comes crashing down, right? They're not going to become believers because it doesn't make sense. So you have a whole bunch of people, millions of people that are locked into a story that they don't have a way out of. That's the story of the Bible. Genesis, let's just say Genesis, not the New Testament. They're locked into a story that they can't get out of, aren't willing to get out of, because they think if they say, well, that story's not correct, somebody's going to say, well, how do you know this part of the Bible's correct? If that part's not correct, how do you know this part's correct? And it's just a slippery slope. So they don't want to go there. Stay far away from it. At G.school, though, we are pursuing a path that reconciles the Bible with science. And it basically says we didn't understand it in the beginning. For example, man is made in the image of God. Well, we have twisted that around to mean God is made in the image of man. We say because we look like this, God looks like this. And of course, that becomes a problem. That's a big problem. However, if you say man is made in the image of God and God is pure spirit, non-baryonic, has no physical form, and man is made in that image, that means that the essence of man is like God. We're spirit. We just happen to have this body right now, but we, being made in the image of God, we are spirit. Aha! Now that's like a Copernican, in quotes, Copernican revolution, right? You have I think it was the first diagram of the universe is like 6,000 BC that we found. Unknown known. There is a first, somebody at some point in history, somebody created a diagram of the solar system. They saw the stars that did that. They watched, oh, let's plot that. And they created a diagram of the solar system. There is a first one. It's unknown. It's known that there was a first drawing of the solar system, but it's unknown where it is. But we found one, I think the oldest one found is like 6,000 BC. And guess what's at the center? Right, the Earth. And up until, about 500 years ago, the belief was that Earth was the center of the universe and the sun and the planets revolved around the Earth. And there were problems with that observation because, for example, the Earth is on a closer orbit to the sun than Mars. So the Earth goes around the sun faster than Mars. So at different times of the year, Mars is ahead of the Earth, but then the Earth passes Mars. If you think that the Earth is the center and Mars is revolving around Earth, it looks like Mars is going this way and then it goes backwards, which is that point where the Earth is passing it. It looks like Mars goes backwards and then goes forward again. And so very complex descriptions of the solar system had to be created to explain how it worked with the Earth at the center of the universe, or say the solar system and the universe. The Earth was at the center. Everything revolved around the Earth because in Genesis it started with the Earth. But then Copernicus came along because he had science. He had math. He had, I think he had a telescope. Maybe not. Maybe that was just Galileo. And he said, no, wait a second. What if we put it so that the sun is the center? Then bam, everything made sense. And I think the same thing happens with religion. If you have a Copernican revolution, you look at it a little bit differently. You say, well, no, that's not our understanding of that. Our understanding of the solar system, that the Earth is in the center, is mistaken. If we move it this way, everything makes sense. So that's where we're going in G.school, but it's now 18 minutes. Time to end it. Hope all is well. For the people who are there watching today, please subscribe, share, thumbs up, click the bell, etc., etc. You know what to do. Have a good day. Oh, Wadabevi, you got there. How are you doing, Wadabevi? Oops, I didn't send. It didn't send. What didn't send? Is it like this, or is it like this? Or is it like that? Let's not have Lucy watch, because Lucy don't like that. Okay, I will give you a call later. Dialing it in. All right, everyone. Talk to you later. Boop. Oh, sorry.